Oh, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Infinite. Thank you. We only accept African gifts, guys. I've up leveled today after my little rant this afternoon. Hello, EQ Minx. I'm all right, darling. I hope you're all right. I only accept African gifts now. Okay. If there was some Jamaican gifts on there from my mum's side, I would have selected those. But we're gonna go with the African gifts. I'm glad you're right, darling. All right, let's get into tonight's live. We try and wrap by uh, 6:30, but are we still on the popular? No way, that's mental. I thought we would have fallen off from this afternoon. Um, Anyway, so every Thursday, 5 o'clock, we do a parenting live about co-parenting. I generally start these lives with a little bit of educational um, jibber jabber at the start, and then we invite you to either come in the box and share your stories, your experiences, if you want to. And if people don't feel comfortable doing that, I'm also happy to just ask questions and let you guys respond in the chat, and then I'll read it out. Hello, Mama Five. Hello, Justian and H. Thank you, everyone who sent a heart me or a team bracelet. Thank you so much. You are all legends. So this is an over 18 live. Hopefully, there'll be no young people in here. But I try and keep these lives on a Thursday and these lives on a Tuesday. The Tuesday ones are the women's health ones, 18 plus, so that it's a safe space for us adults to have these adult conversations. Um, all right, so let's get into today. Just getting my windows in order, sorry. So we talk about co-parenting today, and we know that the end of a relationship is never easy, especially if you have children with or children together. But while it might seem hard at first, there are ways that you can co-parent with your ex, even though you are living apart. So when we talk about what is co-parenting or shared parenting is when two people who have children together, they break up and then they carry on raising their children together, even though they are no longer in a relationship. And while every family has their own arrangements, children will usually spend part of the week with one parent and the rest with the other parent. Co-parents are no longer in a couple, but they are always committed to being, or they should always be committed to being a proactive and active parent and part of their children's lives. Um, and the child, in some cases, might be with one parent more than they are the other, but both will very much be active in decision making. So that's kind of the general um, description of what co-parenting is. Doesn't mean it always pans out like that, and I'm sure we'll have some of those conversations today. um, so co-parenting, positive co-parenting, the first steps. So from confusion to upset, it's normal to have lots of different emotions when a relationship ends. So the first step to co-parenting or shared parenting is giving yourself time to grieve, because you're grieving not just the end of a relationship but also the future that you thought you had as a family. So it can be really hard when relationships sort of come to an end, um, and that can be a real struggle for the individuals as adults, and obviously as well as the children as well. So, what do you do when you don't have a good relationship with your former partner, or you can't figure out how to make it work? And how do you manage when issues or conflicts arrive? And also, what are the rules that you can effectively use to successfully co parent together? Um, and so these are some of the things that have come up, and I will share all of these resources that I'm sharing with you. I will be sharing the links as well. The links are now in my bio as well. So if you click link in my bio, you can get access to any of these resources if you need them. If you are struggling with co-parenting or you don't know how to co-parent, maybe you've just become, um, you know, oh, there we go. Invest in You says contact Next Chapter, which is an organisation if you are in the UK as well. So, according to therapist Shortay Thompson, co-parenting is collaborating in raising a child with another parent in a way that focuses on what is best for the child. And the most common example of co-parenting happens in the wake of a breakup, um, whether it's separation or divorce. of a romantic partnership, but the term can also be used to describe any two individuals who are jointly raising a child, even if they are not necessarily the biological parents, or if they've not been romantically involved, such as a single parent raising a child with a grandparent or another relative. And co parenting can be informal or legally formalized through a co-parenting custody arrangement or a parenting plan as well. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome in. I hope everybody is all right. And when we talk about co-parenting, co-parenting does require flexibility on both sides, which isn't always possible. Patience, open and consistent communication, and a willingness on the part of both parents to negotiate, compromise, and be resilient, because you won't always get your way. And this can be especially difficult to manage when a romantic relationship with the other parent ends, especially when the relationship ends badly. However, if you and your co-parent are on decent terms, then co-parenting can actually yield many, many benefits. And healthy co-parenting will look differently for different families. However, the picture of healthy co-parenting relationships is having both parents present for the big things in their child's life. So, um, sporting events, school events, birthday parties, etc. Finding ways to continue to participate despite, whatever's happened previous. So there are some ways here that you can co-parent effectively. I've got a couple of sites that I'm jumping between right now. I'm just going to kind of read out I'm just going to read out the sort of headline of the topics of the different ways that you can make co-parenting work, and then if we need to later on, I'll go into it a bit deeper. Hello everyone, welcome in, darlings. Hope everyone's all right. So one of the first ways that you can co-parent successfully is, number one is always to put your children first. And number two is being flexible. Number three, learn how to communicate. Number four, get yourselves organized. Yeah, fizzy pop, people need to remember that their child comes first. 100%. Number five, if you're really struggling, you can ask family or friends for help, particularly if you can't talk to your ex without arguing, for example. Number six, be prepared for change. Number seven, be prepared for a new partner. That's always a big one, isn't it? When, you're co-parenting with someone and then your ex-partner gets a new partner and your child is now with your ex-partner and a new person. That's incredibly difficult. So there are ways that you can prepare for that. And then number eight on this list is be kind to each other, which again is really hard, especially if you've had a really difficult breakup from somebody and you're co-parenting a child. On this other one that I'm on, they've said number one on their list is make your co-parenting approach child-focused and child-centered. That needs to come first. Hello, Bratman. Um, prioritize direct communication as well, like conflict-free. Regular and consistent communication with your co-parent is always going to be key when trying to maintain some sort of balance with how you both move forward. Number three, this is a good one on this one, control your emotions. Control your emotions. A hallmark of any successful co-parenting partnership is one wherein the parents have managed to set their feelings and their emotions about each other aside to focus on the development, the well-being, and the care of the child first. That's such a good point, Fizzy Pop. How you treat each other is really an important lesson for your child. It sets their boundaries. Oh, come on. Oh, just putting the dog down. Hold on. Oh, let's hope the blood comes back into my arms. Manage expectations is another one. Set rules and honour them. Have a consistent schedule. And look, you have to remember that it is going to be inevitable, right? That you and your ex will disagree at times. along your co-parenting journey. But if you can maintain a level of respect for each other and prioritize communication with each other, you will find a way forward. However, if you've exhausted other options, then sometimes seeking a counsellor, a therapist, a mediator, or avenues via the legal system are also useful ways to help you resolve conflicts if you can't, agree amongst yourselves. And the takeaway from this is that most parents do want the best for their kids, and there is no cookie cutter approach to parenting. Whenever a relationship ends, there's no sort of one size fits all rule. There's no cookie cutter approach, and it is possible to set differences aside to create a co-parenting plan that works for everyone involved. And when that is not possible, you can then take advantage of legal resources and tools, as another good option as well. Wing it, says Invest in You. Um, yeah, and the pain of breaking up with someone doesn't have to carry forward into your child's life or into your parenting relationship with your ex, especially when the focus remains on providing a loving, stable, supportive, and consistent environment together as parents, where your children can really thrive. Hello, Wiggle Sarah. So, let me get this thing up on the screen, bear with me. I'm still fluey, guys. I'm still a big germ ball. So this is the little resource with some links and stuff that I'm using today to share some information with you. This link, you don't need to write it down or screenshot it. The link is, if you click on my profile, the link is going to be in my bio, for you, so you can access all of those resources as well. Vodka Rhino says sometimes you also need to realize that you cannot control what happens at their house. Yeah, absolutely. I had a question about that as well, how you manage that, hold on. That was my question around that I had. Now my eyes won't let me see it. Oh, here it is. So, okay. So the question I want to ask is, it's freezing cold, isn't it, babe? How can co-parents ensure consistency and stability for their children across two households? So for those of you that do co-parent, how are you currently ensuring consistency and stability for your children, like between two households? I'd love to hear your responses in the chat. Communications, says Wiggle Sarah. I parallel parent. Oh, that's sad, Fizzy Pop. Sorry to hear that. Oh, Leela. Leela says our kids now stay in one house and we as parents change. Now that's interesting. That's yeah, so the home is always consistent for the kids and it's just the parents rotate. That's really interesting. I've not actually heard of that before. Because normally, like, the kids, like my daughter's friend, like on Friday, she'll be going off to her dad's. It's like every week. And then she comes back on a Sunday and she's back with her mum. But it's really interesting, yeah, having that option to keep the kids in one place and the parents. Um, Bratman says he just nods his head. Communication, having the same rules and routines in both homes, yeah. Trying to be on the same level and agree, but some still disagree as always. Yeah, always, yeah, of course. Pocker's Pause says it's hard work, but we try talking and speaking honestly with each other. H has cut their other one off for the sake of their kids, because he's never consistent. Yeah, and sometimes that's where we get to, right, with co-parenting. Yeah, compromising would be key. Yeah, yeah. But that's also difficult, isn't it? If you're the parent that's always compromising and they're not too. Like that also can add stress to the situation as well. The timings are consistent every other weekend. Leela says, my son, who is autistic, just didn't cope with the 2 homes. Yeah, I think that's an amazing resolution to come to. I really do. Law says, just be honest with each other. Yeah, it does. It always goes back to putting the kids first, Leela, 100%. H says, they are both autistic. I've tried for a decade to be flexible and be patient, but it was just too much. Yeah. Bratman says, I feel as the man in the situation, it's my job to compromise more. I mean, look, I'm not a co-parent myself. I've said before, my daughter's dad is no longer with us. Um, but and maybe again, it's because of the circles I'm in. I've certainly heard from a lot of women having to compromise as well. Because sometimes the man, just again, what I've heard is that sometimes the men are less compromising, more stubborn. Might be a sweeping generalization there, but Bratman saying that he finds in his situation that he has to be more compromising. But yeah, I guess it depends which perspective you're looking at, isn't it? Right? Because I guess mums might feel they're more compromising, and then yeah, maybe dads feel they are. I don't know. I'm just jibber jabbering. In France, by law, you have to do 50-50, 1 week on and 1 week off. Thank you, Sarah Lee, for the follow. Oh, hello, Skull Candy Anna. Thank you for popping in, darling. I'm all right, sweetheart. I'm all right. I'm getting there. I struggle as I feel I'm more disciplined with my boy over his life with his mum. Mm, yeah. Rod Carino says that X doesn't get to know anything about their life. And I think, yeah, once they're an X, they don't necessarily have to, as long as the kids, right, are at the as long as the kids are at the forefront of both of you's priority, that's I think the way it has to be. Hey, Bald Eagle. Hi, Danny. Yaya says I've only had to co-parent for 1 year. It became very toxic for my kids, so we went back to being three. What does that mean? Do you mean cut him off? Do you mean? Is that what you mean? Sexy Beach Fix says I couldn't go a week without my child. All right. So another question. Yeah, I think that's what she means. Yeah. Yeah, Loz says, I feel like co-parenting won't work if you put your own feelings above the child, 100%. And sometimes, we do have some spiteful adults, right? Who will sometimes use their children as a weapon. Um, Shauna says, oh, have I missed this? You're here now, Shauna. Yeah, I get you. He's not in the picture at all. He's removed out of the picture. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, 100% H. I agree with you. So, okay, another question for you. Um, So, in terms of finances, when it comes to co-parenting, right? Should it be equal, even if your incomes are not equal? So, if you're both co-parenting, but if one parent earns considerably more and one earns less, should it be equal in terms of what both parents contribute for the child, or should one pay more, in your opinions, if one's a higher earner? Thank you. Crafts and Wonders is loving the earrings. It says, "I am black excellence." Just remind myself that every day. Wiggle Sarah says everything is 50-50. What's the guilt, Shauna? The family is split. Is that the guilt? Danny says my daughter's dad doesn't give me anything yet gets twice as much. Yeah, and you believe it should be 50-50. Yeah, Loz says, I'd love it to be 50-50, but it isn't in my case. Down the middle for things such as clothes, clubs, etc. But household bills, no. Oh, there we go. Invest in You says, I earn 60k less, and neither of us pay. We just buy what he needs when he needs. Yeah, fair. 50-50 from H as well. Next week, so with he was put on. I don't fully understand what you've written, Angie. I don't know if there needs to be some commas or full stops in there. I'm trying to read it, but it's not making sense. Could you write it again for me? I got the first part. I didn't get the rest. Leela said, my kid's dad earns more than me and provides a lot more financially. Bald Eagle says it should be 50-50, but I pay everything. He hands €50 and he thinks that's all he should pay. Yeah, that sucks. Thanks, Zoe. Equal if it means no one is left on the breadline, otherwise the higher earner should chop in more. Yeah, I'd say 50-50 also means it can't be used against one another. My ex pays child maintenance, but I pay for everything. Oh, Maria says, keep the money. I'd be grateful if my kid's dad just spoke to her. It's been nearly 2 years. That's really sad to hear, darling. Lil says, I get maintenance, but it's defo 80% me paying. Yeah, I hear that. Bald Eagle says, I pay for school, sports, clothes. Ah, Sarah Lee says he uses, oh, thank you, Miss Obsessed. Are they African roses, Zoe? Because you know I only accept African gifts, right? Can you just clarify they are African roses? I can't help but laugh at my own silliness. Remi only accepts African gifts in case you missed today's live, guys. He uses money as a weapon, so he sends a certain amount a month, and I never ask for help, even if I need it. Oh, bless you. Oh, I see. Oh, bloody hell, Angie, that's rough. Um, you didn't mean to send it to me. That makes it even worse. So they're definitely not African roses, are they? Rude. Hey, Jemmy and Jasper. Hello. How's you? How's Alfie's? Everyone all right? I hope you're all okay, darling. It should be means tested. My ex used to buy my son expensive stuff to undermine me. Yeah, that's also problematic, isn't it? When you have an ex who's got more money than the other one, and yeah, they can use their money almost as no worries, yeah, babe. They can almost use their money as a weapon by buying stuff that you can't give your child. Yeah. Not reparations, Leela. African queen roses. Oh, thanks. Oh, jeez. Said my son ended up in hospital because of an ear piercing he gave him. I asked for half the bill money. Yeah. Coming down the board. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Hey, mother of brats. You alright? Fizzy Pop says, I think we should have a system whereby every parent has to be financially responsible regardless. Yeah, I would agree 100% with that. Hey, Watchtower returns. Are you all right, darling? Hope you're all right. What do you want a poll for, Zoe? Or do you just want a poll? What do you want a poll for? Oh no, it just all scrolled down to the bottom. I've missed some comments. Hold on. What's the poll for? Oh, my eyes are going really fuzzy today. Do you just want a random poll, Zoe, or do you want a poll for something? I don't know if it's eating your comments. Oh, okay. Thank you. Guys, it's a pointless poll. If you can see the poll on your screen, just tap a smiley face for me, please. Tap the smiley face. Thank you. Right, while you're doing the poll, I've got another question for you. So keep tapping the poll for me, guys. Right, there's 62 of you. We need 62 taps on the poll. Let's go. We've got 24. Who hasn't tapped the poll? Can you all see the poll? It's 31 of you. Everyone tap the poll for me, please. Tap a smiley face. Sorry for my sniffing, guys. I'm a sick puppy. Tap the poll, everyone. Only half of you tap the poll. Yeah, that's true. People might be cooking their dinner. That's very true. Some people just have me listening in the background. Torian, tap the poll. Oh, the poll's finished. Damn it. It's going to make Torian vote. We'll do another poll in a minute. Oh, mate, the weather's awful. Yeah, if everyone taps the poll, it might get rid of my cold. Right, so how should oh, thanks, H said Mama. How should co-parents handle disagreements about parenting styles? And I do wonder, I do think, like, if my daughter's dad, write your answers in a comment as well. Hey, Lauren. Hey, everyone. How should co-parents handle disagreements? Oh, thank you for the butterflies. Oh, thank you, darling. Are they African butterflies, Watchtower Returns? Are they African ones? Please say yes, because I can't return them, so I'm just going to assume that they're African butterflies, because Miss Remi only accepts African. Mauritian. Oh, they're Mauritian. I'll accept. Thank you. They're Mauritian. Thank you. Yeah. How should co-parents handle disagreements about parenting styles? Parents should be on the same page with that. I think if a parent is absent and doesn't support their kids, they shouldn't have more kids. Okay. Both on the same page, come together, speak and decide on the next steps. Communication is always key, but any disagreement needs to be discussed and comprised away from the kids. That's a really good point. They should be on the same page, but not always the case. Vodka Rhino says we can't. Everyone parents different and you can't control what they do. Yep, Loz, to combat that, Vodka Rhino, yeah, it's having a conversation and not a shouting match. And it's about try to find that kind of happy medium, is it? If you can. It's not always possible. But yeah, not a shouting match or a slagging match, but a conversation. Firstly, away from the child and never argue in front of them. Yeah, I take to a rage room. Communication is always key and away from the kids. It says a lot if you can both keep it level. Yeah, it does. Away from the child. Around your child, you should always appear supportive of each other. I agree on that. Find a middle ground that works for everyone. Oh, that's nice. Watchtower Returns. They said that my ex-husband and I are still besties. Vodka Rhino says my ex is a teacher and so he assumes he knows better than everything. So I parallel parent. When you say parallel parent, does that just mean like you just go along with whatever he wants because it just makes life easier? Is that what it means? Parallel parenting? So, like I said, I know my daughter's dad isn't here, but I know 100% we would have struggled with parenting styles, and I think that would have been really difficult. But I, yeah, I don't have to deal with that. But had he still been here, I know it would have been very difficult. Danny says my daughter's dad isn't a bad person, just a bad boyfriend, and sometimes a bad dad, but never argued in 13 years. Oh, that's good. Mother of Brat says my ex is a narcissist and my son is aware, so if there's an issue, he just brings himself home. Oh, bless him. Hey, Foofs. No worries, Lindsay B. In my home, I'll parent how I do in their home. They can't. They can do it. Not everyone parents the same. No, not everyone parents the same. But so okay, so things like maybe a child has a phone or a laptop or a iPad or something, and maybe in one household they're allowed to have that device in their room late at night, and then in maybe in your household they get it taken off of them at a certain time. How do you manage things like that where, like they can go to another parent's house and there's almost like no rules, but then in your house you have the rules? How do you juggle that for those of you who might have had a situation like that? Oh, there we go. Kimber says, I do all the parenting and the ex basically babysits when it suits him. How can you stop what they do? You can't, so you just keep boundaries, says Vodka. Yeah, true. Maria says, there's not enough word space for my rant on this. Oh, are you tangled? Fizzy Pop says you only get one chance to raise a stable, well-rounded child. Dude, I beg. I'm kind of busy. Can we not bark? Just get in the blanket and roll yourself up again. Get in the blanket. Mummy's busy. Our house doesn't even have the same rules depending on who's with them at the time. There's no rules at my daughter's dad's home. She comes home with a bad attitude. Ugh, I swear to God, leave me alone. Stop. I'm being I'm being stalked by the dog. He just started pulling on the headphone cable to get my attention. That was annoying. Stop. This is where there has to be consistency. I mean, yeah, consistency, there should be, but what if the other person is just an a-hole? Or what if worse, they deliberately do it to F things up? Do you know what I mean? I haven't had any honey and ginger yet. I know I should have. I know you told me earlier. I'm sorry. I haven't stopped. Shauna says, take a very deep breath and try to talk to the other parents, but not gonna lie, I do everything for them. Remi's parenting her dog. I explained to my son that I was doing what was best as I could as a single mother. Oh, bless you, Nikki. Hey, Jodie Geeky. All right, so for those of you saying there's not enough space, if you want to jump in the box and have a couple of minutes and tell me if that would be easier. Jodie says, I'm lucky enough to have two ex-baby daddies. Oh, Lord. Sounds awful. Awful. But I feel like I had a bit of an escape. It's a dreadful thing to say, isn't it? And single parenting is hard, but like, I don't know, man. Doing it with someone else? Just saying. Right, hop in the box, you lot, if you want to come and tell me your drams.
Thank you for accepting my request.
Hello, darling. Hold on, let me just sort the room out. There we go. Kat, what would you like to say, darling?
I just wanted to offer some solidarity really to the room. I am a single parent. I've been a single parent since I was pregnant. And my story is that I was I was harassed when I was pregnant and by this person, and I had a restraining order, and I did offer reasonable contact for the first 2 years. There was some kind of co-parenting happening,
Mhm.
and I have to say I am grateful that I don't have to deal with that anymore. But one thing I did deal with was the slow kind of letting go of the feeling of responsibility, of really feeling like I should be doing more to facilitate some good relationship that my son had. And I think
Mm.
as women, particularly as mothers, we are so disproportionately given the responsibility of maintaining and facilitating that relationship, no matter the behavior of the other person.
Yeah.
And often people still say to me, my own family have said to me, oh, you know, it's so good he comes down all that way or whatever, some kind of grasping onto some small thing that could praise the other person, and that I should do X, Y, and Z, do everything in my power to facilitate a relationship with somebody that if they were not any biological relation to my son, I would not let them in the same room, let alone alone with them, not have any responsibility with them. I hold my son's hand across the road when he was 2,
Mm.
so I'm going to protect him when he was 2 in that situation. And but there was a huge grief in letting go of the responsibility that I felt deeply internally,
Mm.
that I felt that I had let my son down by not somehow creating a
The
relationship
forever
that he
home
could grow
kind of
with.
thing. Yeah.
No, no, not
Oh.
that, not even that.
Oh.
What I mean is, I think there was a love for me and for other people that I've witnessed in my own life. There is a feeling of responsibility for the behavior of the other parent and how they
Yeah.
choose to create a relationship with their own child. And that's not something that we, as the other parent, can do anything about.
Yes.
But it's something that I felt responsible for, and I know other people will too.
Yeah.
And it's been many years for me. My son's 12, nearly 12 now, so it's been 10 years for me, and I'm in a happy place with that. But I know that many others will not be
Mm.
in this room, so I just wanted to voice that.
Oh, thank you so much, Kat. That's a really supportive message. And yeah, Sleepy Rachel just written, yes, I'm exactly the same. Thank you so much for coming up and sharing that. And I hope you and your son are all right, my love.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me speak.
No worries. All right, take care. Big loves. Hello, Rich.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm good. What do you want to share on this co-parenting stuff?
I think it's just drumming home that consistency bit. I think I've got, as you know, I've got two boys and two different mums, opposite
Uh-huh.
ends of the country, and that's I think the one thing that I mean, not always, but at the which has been the consistent is what happens in each household stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you were alluding to earlier, so my eldest has a PlayStation. He gets half an hour every day on the PlayStation at his mum's house. So when he's at my house, he gets half an hour on the PlayStation. Like there's no differentiation there because I feel that if you start breaking on the basics, because you're building habits for your children, aren't you?
Yeah.
And if you start breaking on the basics and start breaking those habit rules, it just causes friction, particularly as the child gets older because there's more questioning. There's more. Well, I do that there, so why can't I do it there? And
Mm.
it makes relationship building, particularly when they go through their second phase of schema, really difficult.
Mm.
And it's a really simple thing. Well, it should be a really simple thing. Is to just be doing the same thing across both households. For example, the same with discipline. How you choose to discipline a child in one household should be exactly the same in the other household.
And
So
how have you got to that sort of arrangement where it's kind of harmonious between you and both of those other
Oh, it's
partners?
not always harmonious.
Not
but,
harmonious, but like that you're on the
but
same page
I
for that
think.
consistency.
Do you know what? I know it sounded like I was jesting in it, but it is very much me nodding my head. Like the realization is for me is the mums do most of the work.
Mm,
I was there for both the boys being birthed, and I have untold respect for any woman that goes through childbirth, because fucking hell, like
correct.
they're amazing. They're amazing. Like literally, both. I love both of the boys' mums because of that reason. Like it's
Yeah.
just sensational. But I think that it is just me nodding my head. They do most of the work, and they know what's best.
Yep.
And I think, and they allow me to have input, and we have good discussions. We haven't always, but we do now. We have good discussions and good conversations about what we should and shouldn't be doing with the boys.
Mm.
But I will take the lead off of them.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And look, I don't. Yeah, communication is always key. Crafts wonder. Would you say your quite your position that you take is quite a common thing, or would you say you are an anomaly to the rule?
I would say there's more men like me than you think.
Yeah.
I do think that on the whole, so my partner, she's in a similar situation. She's got a daughter with her son, and that situation is completely different. I won't talk about it; it's her story.
Okay.
But I think it's, yeah, I would say from what I hear from other people, I'm the minority. I think a lot of men are just dicks.
Yeah, I mean, Vodka Rhino's just written. Can she give you her ex's number so you can give his head a wobble?
I like that. But no, I think that we don't want to admit it, but I think that men can be considerably more emotionally involved
Mm,
and struggle more with the relationship breakdown than women do sometimes, but we don't admit it and we won't say that we will. I
yeah.
know, for example, with my first relationship breakdown, even though it was me that instigated it, I struggled more.
Mm,
So the beginning of that wasn't amazing, wasn't great, but we worked through it and I matured and I grew up because I was
yeah.
living it 7 years ago now. So are the rules the same for each boy from the mums? They're similar, yeah. Luckily for me, my the boys' mums are very similar in regards to their position on parenting.
Good. But
So
also, I mean, not always, but not always. And I'm very aware, not always. This is how we end up in problems. But if you have picked partners that are sort of of similar value to you anyway in the beginning,
yeah,
then I think that is when it can then be a sort of a not harmonious, but like a sort of a situation where you can find a common ground. It's when, unfortunately, if you're with someone whose values are not sort of aligned to yours in the beginning, I think then that really shows when you split up and you've got children and you realise what a Kent they are.
100%.
Um, so yeah. But anyway, but no, thank you for that, darling. Anything else you want to share, bub?
No. I need to go because I'm cooking. I'm
All
cooking
right,
steaks.
love. See you
All right.
soon.
Have
Bye.
a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Kate, hello. Let me unmute you. Do do do.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm so good. What do you want to share about this co-parenting topic
Um,
today, darling?
do you know what? I watch you all the time, and I love your topics, and you really I do learn a lot, like listening to you and
Ah,
stuff. Um, and I'm not sure if it's like a co-parenting thing because my daughter's now 14, and I broke up with her dad when she was like 8 months old,
yeah.
and oh, I don't know. I don't know why I'm about to cry. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
It's just mad because I never had that opportunity really to co-parent with him. It just went from bad to to nothing. Like,
So he's not been
and
in your child's life at all.
no, and the thing is, like, I'm Irish, but I had my daughter in New York, in McHale, in New York, in America,
Uh huh.
and I stayed there till she was 7,
And I moved back home when she was 7. She's now 14, like, but
Yeah.
even up until she was 7, I kept like um, a communication like with his brother and his two sisters,
Yeah.
and they used to come see her every now and again, you know.
Right.
And even like, you know, the real American type shit, you know, they have a
Yeah.
father daughter dance. You know, she went to like a Catholic school and everything over there. And like his brother came and took her to the dance and everything. And I don't know, it's just, it's crazy. Like, I'd love her to have that.
Yeah. Have that relationship with her dad, you mean?
Yeah,
Do you not have any contact with him at all?
no.
And is there any way of her getting in contact with the family to kind of? Does she want to have a relationship with him, or is it that you feel like mum guilt?
It's just, yeah, it's massive mom guilt. Like,
Yeah.
um, I'm sure she does, you know.
Yeah.
Um, she, I don't know, my heart breaks for her. Like, because of course every little girl wants a daddy, you know.
Yeah. I hear you. But it's
It's,
yeah. Some cat's just written in the chat. It's not your fault, and sometimes we're in situations where there's literally nothing you can do. Like, of
yeah, I
course
mean,
you.
I struggled till she was 7, you know, at work. And,
Yeah.
you know, New York is not an easy place to be a single parent. And
No.
I struggled till she was like 7. And like, then I just knew I could offer her so much more here in Ireland. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'd be able to work, and she'd be able to horse ride, and she'd be able to go to gymnastics, and she plays Gaelic football. And, you
Yeah.
know, these are all things that I couldn't do for her
If you stayed in New York.
if I was working 2 or 3
Yeah.
jobs. You know what I mean? Like, she'd be stuck in after school programs, you know,
Yeah.
which she was starting to be, you know, and that's the way it was starting to look. And I was just like, no, like my family kept saying, come home, you know, you
Yeah.
can have this, that, and the other. My father bought me a house.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, well, it is straight across the road from him. So,
Listen, look, you can't change this man, and you can't get him to do what he should be doing as a father, and
yeah,
and
the crazy thing is,
unfortunately
like, he made me
sometimes.
spend thousands to like get her name changed and get her a passport, even though I was in communication with his brother and sister, and I
Mm,
couldn't fight with them because of it. But
mm,
he wouldn't sign her over. He wouldn't come to court. He wouldn't do anything. So I had to hire a private investigator and put an ad in the paper, and like, you have to do, the court makes you do all these things in order to, you know, show that he's an absent parent. And then they gave me full custody. But, you know, in order that cost me thousands of money, you know, thousands of dollars that I didn't have.
mm.
So it was just awful. Like that.
Yeah, it sounds bloody awful. And have you ever sort of got any help to support you through this? Because it sounds like you know I was going to say absent father, but it sounds like a deadbeat dad, sadly. And it's not on you. And I understand the mum guilt. I do. 100% get that.
It's massive. It's so massive. She
Yeah.
had there's one picture of him in the hospital with her, like 5 minutes after she was born, and she asked me to have it blown up, and she had it on her wall for the last couple of years. But we just kind of redid her bedroom, and I noticed she put it away in a box
Well, if he's not around, he's not present. She's not really
because
gonna
I
have
never
much attachment, is
badmouthed him
she?
to her. You know, I've never badmouthed him. I never said nothing.
No.
Like,
You've
I've
done your
never.
job, darling. You've done your job, and there's really not much more you can do. And yeah, Nikki's just written in the chat, it's going to be his loss in the end when your daughter realizes she's got an amazing mum and a deadbeat dad. There's literally nothing more you can do, darling. But I want you to just to know it's. Oh, hold on, TikTok's making me do the puzzle. Hold on. so it doesn't disconnect us. There we go. It's not your.
Man, I didn't expect to get this emotional.
That's okay.
I
Like
usually just be like, oh, when I'm listening to you. Now, like, I'm like a big crying
it's
mess. I don't know
okay.
where this came out of, actually. But
Listen,
yeah, it's
sometimes we
mad.
talk about things and it just triggers feelings in us, and that's okay. And that's why we do these lives to allow people an opportunity to talk. And sometimes, yeah, we get a bit emotional, and
And
that's
thank you
okay.
so much, because
That's
this
okay.
is nothing I would like ever really be talking about or saying to anybody else in
Oh
my life.
no, darling.
So
But listen, just remember,
thank
you
you.
are a very strong, powerful single mama. Your daughter loves you. You're doing an incredible job, and focus on that because you can't control him or change anything. And just focus on your daughter and giving her the best possible life. And she's got one amazing parent. And do you know what? Sometimes my daughter's only got one amazing parent too, and sometimes that's all they need, babe. So you take
Yeah,
you
and
take care of yourself,
I
bub.
tell you, I wonder, like, when she will reach out to him one day on her own.
Maybe she
I,
will.
do you know what breaks my heart? It's like for her to get disappointed when that day comes. That's also another
I know.
thing.
And that is hard,
You
but
know,
also if she does get
we'll deal with
disappointed,
that at the
she's got
time.
you.
Yeah,
She's got you if she gets
yeah.
disappointed, right? So let's not worry about that yet. One day that might come, but also just as long as she's got you supporting her and having her back and loving her, that's enough. Yeah, that's enough, darling.
Thank you so much.
Big loves to you, Kate. I'll see you again another time, all right?
All right, I'll
Big
definitely
loves.
be listening. Thank you. Take
Bye,
care.
darling.
Bye bye.
Hi, Maria, quirky mum.
Hello, beautiful.
Hello, darling. You all right?
I'm all right, darling. Thank you for holding another safe space and talking about really important topics. I really
Oh,
respect you for that, Miss Remi. You
oh,
know,
thanks.
I've popped into your lives before when we were talking about things our children have done today to make us proud. And there's something about your lives. You always get me choked up. You always get me
Oh,
emotional. You get me in my feels.
oh,
Um, Co-parenting, I've got mixed experience. Without sounding like I should belong on Jeremy Kyle. I've my children have different parents. I've lived a life,
girl,
Um,
we all have.
my but my daughter, she's 9 now, and her dad. We wasn't in a relationship. I'll just say it like that politely.
Yeah,
Um, you know, fell pregnant, and he was involved for a long time. The best dad in the world, not, but a present dad who was there and had her own weekends and things.
yeah.
And as the years have gone on, sadly, at the beginning of last year, he just stopped contact.
What, just out of
I've,
nowhere?
I have my suspicions as to why his life's moved on and he's married and
Okay.
things now. But I'm not going to air that because it's not fair on him. Um, I've still encouraged him
Yeah,
to try and be present, and I've always been a bit pushy. Maybe I've always been willing to travel to bring her
yeah,
to him and just encourage the best I can.
yeah.
Um, for them to have a healthy relationship, but sadly, like I say, last year the contact just died off, and it has had a very big impact on my daughter.
Oh,
My daughter's got additional needs, so my daughter has autism.
yeah,
So my daughter sees the world differently anyway.
yeah.
She doesn't see the bad in anyone. She only sees the good in everyone in every situation.
Oh,
But over the last year and a half, sadly, she does now have separation anxiety, and she has had anxiety attacks at times. And I've been quite lucky that her school are very supportive. So, for any parents that might be going through issues regarding co-parenting things at the moment, please talk to your schools because there is support to be had within school. Um, so yeah, I've had a mixed experience because on the flip side of that, my now ex-partner, we was together for 8 years, but I met her when I was 15 weeks pregnant with my daughter.
mhm.
Um, so it was always like a three-parent type of relationship.
Yeah, I get you.
And we split up quite a while ago, but my ex-partner, despite not having any blood relation to my children, is still present.
Oh, that's
We are,
wonderful.
yeah, me and her are such good friends. She's there for anything that they need, medical appointments, school appointments,
Oh, that's
even
really
going to the
wonderful.
supermarket. So I've got mixed experience, and
Yeah.
I know what it's like to feel the mum guilt of, when sadly a dad um isn't the type of dad that you would expect and things. But like, just to those in the comments that may be going through issues with parents not being involved or breakdown in relationships and things, there really is support. My daughter's school got school nurses in to talk about relationships and feelings, and
Oh,
they did
wow.
little workshops with her, on, to get her to express her emotions. They gave her regular time out in classes just when things became a bit overwhelming and things. So it's hard, and I take my hat off to every parent, whether you're a mum or dad.
Yeah.
um but there is definite support out there. And listen, anyone can drop me a message if you ever just want a chin whack.
Oh,
um but yeah, it just sending love to everyone. Parenting is so hard. Being
it
a parent is
is.
so hard, man.
It is. And thank you for saying that about schools being there as a support, because I didn't know that in terms of like when parents split up, that that the school, if you let the school know, that you can use
Yeah,
resources there. And I think there are probably going to be other parents that may not have had that information, because often with things like this, we go through these things on our own, don't we, and try and struggle through
yeah.
and support our kids. But I think that's a really wonderful thing that you've shared today.
Yeah, the school, I think, has more resources than what us parents realise, to be
Yeah.
honest. But
That's
I
such an
think the
important
job
message.
title in the school is like, if you've got like a pastoral care manager within
Yeah,
the school or the Senko,
yeah,
if you could approach them, whether it be like a breakdown in relationships or anxiety, whatever's happening with your kids, there are other people they can bring in
yeah.
to speak to your children, do workshops. So please ask. It
Oh,
is there. It
Mar-
is there. And yeah, sending love to everyone.
Maria, every time you get in the box, you are such a ray of light, and you always bring some support and help others. So thank you so much for coming
Oh,
up. And
well, thank you for holding a safe space for us, Miss Remi, and I hope you feel better soon.
thank you, darling. Big loves to you, and I'll see you soon, Maria. Thank
See you
you.
soon. Bye bye, darling.
Bye, love. Oh, that was nice. She always has good advice. Hello, Dolly. Dolly Raz. You all right, darling?
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm all right. What would you like to share
I
about co-parenting today, my love?
basically I'm a mum of 20-year-olds now.
Oh,
And yeah, men, but with learning disabilities.
okay.
And I've just come across your live, and I heard, just listening to Kate, and I was like, oh my god, she's like telling my story. But
Oh,
I'm in the future, kind of thing. I'm her future.
wait. Have we just
All I
fallen into Back to the Future? What's happening? I'm easily confused. Explain. What's going
so
on?
basically, I was married. I
Yeah.
had my three boys, and when my youngest turned 3, we separated, and that was the end of the relationship with their dad.
Right.
And my youngest is now 22.
Oh, wow.
These kids are so resilient.
Mm.
And they're not stupid. Even though my kids have got learning difficulties, they're not stupid. They see things, they hear things. And with like her daughter, Kate's daughter, putting the photo away,
Yeah.
she will realise. She will go, oh, well, why am I holding a photo in my bedroom when he's not even bothered? And I never slated my husband. If my kids asked me, why doesn't dad see me? My answer was always, I don't know, sweetheart. But I would walk over hot coal to come and see you if it was me.
No.
We've never moved. We've never changed our number. I don't know why. And that's the answer I can give you. That's all I said.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, he actually reached out to me, my ex-husband,
Yeah.
and asked if the boys were interested in seeing him. And I spoke to each and every one of them, and the responses, and taking the fact that, like I said, my boys have got learning difficulties. One of them turned around and said, I never want to see him again. He's not bothered with me, so why would I bother with him? One of them turned around and said, you could take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
And the other one said, I don't even know who he is. And if he touched me, I'd get him done for child abuse, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was his response.
Wow.
Because he's never seen him. If I showed a picture to him, he wouldn't know who he was. So
Gosh.
that's what I'm saying. I'm in the future.
I
I'm in the
get you.
future
Oh, I
of
get you
having
now.
a bad breakup or no co-parenting,
Yeah.
and I tried,
Yeah.
but my husband left me because he cheated on me, and to the point where I had his mistress in my house talking about what times would be best for them to have our 3 children,
Oh, bloody
so
hell.
that they could have a good relationship. It's just not something he wanted, which is fine. Whatever. I've coped, I've managed, I've cried, I've laughed.
Yeah.
The sad thing is he's missed out on that,
Yeah.
and he's missed out on 3 beautiful men. That's the sad part.
Yeah. Yeah, and do you know one of the most powerful things I think you said is that even without their dad around, that they're resilient and they're,
They are. They
you
are.
know,
And it is true with the schools. My middle son did have separation anxiety, and would you believe he got bereavement counselling?
really.
Because as they see it, and I was like, well, he's not dead.
Mm,
We just divorced. Like, he's not. And they were like, but it's a death to that child
mm,
because they don't see him anymore.
yeah. Wow. And you know, like it's really funny because you're getting me to think about my own daughter now. Like her dad passed when she was just turned 3. She's nearly 11 now, and so he's not been around for the majority of her life. And it's there is a resilience there, and maybe once a year she might mention him. And, you know, I've got books
Yeah.
with pictures and stuff on, but for the most part, it's like she's adjusted to just having mum,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, we
And
move
don't get me
forward.
wrong, there were times with my eldest, and he'd go, "Oh, my dad liked that. My dad had that in his car," or there
Yeah,
was a song, and he'd
yeah,
go, "Oh, my dad used to play that in his car," and I'd go, "Oh, did he, baby? Oh, right, okay." But I won't go, "Oh, you're the dad in." No, it was okay, okay, sweetheart. But they realise who's around. They
yeah,
realise who's put the effort in. They realise who's there.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
They do. They do. Listen, thank you, Dolly. Big love to you for being an awesome single mama.
well, at the moment, I will say I remarried 8 years ago,
Oh, did
so
you?
they have now got a stepdad who they absolutely worship. He worships
Oh,
them, So yes, we are, and they actually changed their names when we got married because they wanted to be a family
oh,
unit. That
that's
was their decision.
that's
Yeah, so
lovely.
we are a little family now, and yes, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely, Dolly. Oh, that's put a big smile on my face. That has. That's a really lovely ending,
Bless you.
and I'm really happy for you, and I'm happy for your boys who are now men.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really happy, and
And they're
thank you.
fine.
Yeah,
They are, yeah,
yeah,
and it's a case of they will see. They will see. They're not Kids are not stupid. They really aren't, and they know who puts in the effort.
yeah. Absolutely, they do. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that in the future. You,
No worries. No worries, my angel.
Michael J.
If you
Fox,
can
Dolly.
cut it, we'll all be good.
Right, big loves, Dolly. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
up and
Remy.
sharing. Take care, darling.
Good
Bye.
evening, everyone, and have a good night.
Thanks, bub. Hello, Jessica. Hello,
Hello, my
babe.
love.
Hello.
Um,
You alright?
so yeah, so it's fresh co-parenting for me.
Okay.
Um, my now ex dumped me in March.
Right.
Um, and he only sees his son twice a week, Thursdays and Sundays. Um,
Is that a legal agreement or like a agreement that you two have both worked come to?
it's an agreement that we've both come to.
Okay.
Um, but it seems to me like his other interests and hobbies are taking over. And so, like, on Sundays, he doesn't come and see him as much.
So he's not being
So the
consistent.
2 days, yeah, he's starting to create that distance between him and his own son.
Yeah,
Um, and it breaks my heart because Hudson is nearly 3. He'll be 3 in a week and a bit.
yeah.
And like Dolly said, kids aren't stupid.
No, they're not.
Kid, Kids are not stupid. They click onto things so quickly. And Hudson now knows his routine. So he's like, this morning he was like, I'm waiting for my daddy, and I'm like, yep, your dad will be here soon. Because they do an activity and then they go for lunch and then they come
Yeah,
back home.
yeah,
Um, and then I get to go out, which is quite nice
yeah.
for myself.
Have a little break.
Um, but then on Sundays, when daddy can't make it,
Yeah,
he's like, oh, there's this excuse or that excuse, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, where's my daddy? And it breaks my heart because he's just so used to having daddy 2 days a week.
yeah.
And it's,
It is heartbreaking when you've got an inconsistent ex-partner, it falls on you because you're left with the child and you're left with the disappointment. It's awful.
yeah. And then he acts out,
Of course.
unfortunately, because
Yeah,
he just wants his daddy. Like,
yeah,
that's his day with daddy, and now things have changed. And he's like, oh, but where's my daddy? And I'm like, he can't come today. Sorry, mate.
yeah.
Um, oh, hold on.
How's
They're
uh,
coming upstairs. Oops.
how's your communication with your ex? Is it good, bad? Is
It's
it not?
crap.
Is there a way that you can get some help with communicating with each other?
Um, I try. I have my my mom is a massive factor in helping.
Yeah.
Um,
Is she like a good middle person?
yeah,
Good. Well, that's good.
yeah, she's, and also like me and Hudson live with her, so their relationship helps really, like, not helps. I don't mean helps, but I mean like the fact that I can then just rely on my mom and be like, oh, I need to go and do this. Can you look after Hudson?
Yeah.
Um, and she's like, yeah, that's fine. She picks up the pieces, and I just feel,
Hello. You there?
yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, you started and then
um,
you just stopped halfway.
I just feel like if there was something more I could do as a like on those days that his dad can't turn up,
Yeah.
is there anything else that I can do as a parent, like to try and um
Deal with the aftermath of the disappointment.
yeah.
Well, okay, listen, somebody's already written in the chat because some of you, if you could answer that in the chat, guys, any suggestions that you can do. But somebody wrote earlier in the chat, oh, Dead Wings with the Sweet
Oh, thank
Memories
you.
book. Bless you, Dead Wings. We love you, Dead Wings. Thank you so
Can you
much.
change the day, hon? We shouldn't have
Yeah,
to listen.
change the day. Is that an option of like, because if Sundays is a day where he keeps disappointing your child, that potentially offer another day that's going to be or might make it more possible for him to be consistent could be an option. Somebody else has written distraction, but that's also hard because if your child is waiting for their dad to come and then they're starting to acting up when their dad doesn't show up, like potentially, because did you say he's 3?
He'll be 3 very soon, yeah.
So potentially the other thing, and my friend does this with her child, is that she just doesn't almost set her child up for the fall. So like on a Saturday, she won't prepare him and say, Daddy's coming tomorrow, for example, because the dad was always letting him down. So I don't know, at 3, I would imagine after a couple of weeks, if you're not mentioning it that Daddy's coming on a Sunday, like not sort of leading him into it, and then when the next day comes and then he cancels, it just makes it difficult. So maybe not mentioning daddy's coming on Sunday. If the Thursdays are consistent, keep saying, daddy's coming tomorrow on Thursday, but maybe don't, when he asks when daddy's coming next, maybe don't give a specific date, because you don't know. You might have to say things like, I'll have to wait until I hear from daddy, or I'll have to wait for daddy to call. Does that make sense? It's just an idea. I don't know if it will work. It's just an idea, Jessica.
Sorry, you can hear the child in.
Yeah.
um. Yeah. I the change in date wouldn't be able to happen because he's self-employed, so he needs to work
Yeah.
longer, like long hours, just to try and like make
Yeah.
a living.
I
Um.
get you.
Yeah. Give me a second, mate. I'm on the phone.
Yes. So somebody suggested an activity jar, and so you could
I
Google.
saw that, and I
Yeah.
think that's a great
That
idea.
is a brilliant idea. Do a little Google search for activity jar for 3-year-olds, and they'll give you a load of ideas. Put them in a jar, and then he can pick out something to do, and then you can go off and do an activity as a distraction. But if you know he can't change the Sundays, I would just personally, and Sleepy Rach just said this. She said, I never tell my little one when dad is coming, as he's a no-show so much. So instead of even mentioning it on a Sunday or a Saturday night or whatever, which is going to be difficult, just go into Sunday. And if he turns up, great. And if he doesn't turn up, you get your activity jar out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Do you know what I mean? Just to
Yeah.
protect all of you and all of your energy, because there is nothing worse than seeing a child devastated because they got so excited about seeing someone and then they haven't turned up. It's fucking heartbreaking. And that mum guilt that you will also experience is just awful. And look, I'm not a fucking expert at parenting or therapy. I'm just trying to just give you what ideas that have just jumped into my head that may or may not help, and with the help of what people are saying in the comments as well. But I would say give that a try. Is that all right, Jessica?
Yeah, that's fine. I muted myself so you didn't hear me talk over you then.
It's all right. That's okay.
um,
And I hope
the
things improve.
yeah, it's just difficult, isn't it? Really, like you try your absolute best. Thankfully, I don't do the whole oh yeah, daddy's coming today or daddy's
Yeah.
coming tomorrow. Because I am given a bit of warning some days.
Okay. Good.
Um, but yeah, like changing the day probably wouldn't be able to happen.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I
I get
said,
that.
because he works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Um, and then Hudson goes to nursery on a Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm looking at starting gymnastics or piano lessons with Hudson.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, it's just gotta.
Listen, you'll find a balance or you won't find a balance. But either way, Hudson's got you, and that's the main thing. And, kids will make up their own decisions about their other parent by how they behave and how they act. And unfortunately, you can't control what they do. And hopefully, he'll want to invest time in spending time with his child. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. And that's just going to be him missing out on his child's life. And there's not much you can really do beyond that, really. So,
Yeah,
but listen, big loves to you, Jessica. I'm going to move on because I'm going to wrap the room now. But thank you so much for coming up and sharing.
it's okay.
And yeah, give the activity jar an idea. Go and do a little Google search, and I'm sure you'll find
Yeah, I
some
will do.
stuff.
Thank you so much.
Big loves to you, Jessica. Take care,
Speak
darling.
later. Bye.
Bye. Bye. I'm getting really sniffly again. Sorry, guys. Fizzy Pop says sometimes all you can do is be the best parent you can be. 100%. That's all you can do. Um, Kate says, I know it's crazy and you make so much sense in what you're saying, but it is so heartbreaking. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Um, but co-parenting can be hard. Some people are lucky and have an easy ride, and sometimes it's just difficult, and sometimes the person is difficult. Sometimes the person might just be being spiteful. right? But ultimately, I'll end with what we started with. Ultimately, you know, when there are two parents and there's a child, the child's needs must always come first. Um, and we have to deal with all the other shit around the side of it, as best that we can. And remember that, if you are feeling alone, if you can reach out and get support from friends and family with potentially a difficult ex or sorting out co parenting with someone else, we've heard today about asking schools for additional support if you can do that as well. And of course, there is also legal routes, mediation as well, and things like that are available if you are really struggling with a co parenting situation as well. I've got a link, an image of some links on mum groups as well, Dolly. Yeah, there's always a lot of mum groups that can offer support as well. But don't suffer in silence, anybody, whether you're the mother or the father. Don't suffer in silence. um I in my bio there is an image with some links on, with some information on and some resources. If you want to go and access those, please do click the link in my bio, scroll down, you'll see an image with some links on for you. um I'm going to wrap because I feel like my nose is getting more and more congested and I'm getting more and more stuffier. I just want to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you've got a lot out of the live today. We are here every Thursday doing, can we have a happy song? Every Thursday we do a parenting live, and every Tuesday we do a women's health live. And tomorrow at 12 I'll be back doing FYP. Let's find a song to go out to. We started with Lizzo. Let's end with Lizzo.